to share. So all the sessions are going to be, the complete session is going to be recorded. We used to do the career counseling over the weekend on every Sunday. But due to pandemic, we are doing over the phone and over the Zoom. So we deliver lectures on what next after 10th, 12th, new emerging careers. Then we assist people for the admission counseling as well, especially for medical engineering. Before 2 years, we don't used to assist for the admission counseling for medical engineering, but now recently we have developed that expertise. Okay, then we have delivered the lectures on how to face interviews. Then people are generally confused about PMP, CSM, SAFE, DayOps. We try to assist them as well. Okay, then another category of people that, okay, the people who are feeling stagnation in their career. Okay, there are certain recently there are achievements. Here we have written that, okay, pandemic achievement. So that means it is not pandemic as the achievement. It is rather than we want to say that, okay, in pandemic we have done a great achievement. I'm going to just play a video for 73 seconds. Please go through this. Please listen this video.
Is there any audio, Abdul?
Yeah, there is audio. It is not coming in. It is not coming.
No.
Audio is not coming. Okay. Okay, let me add the audio. Thank you very much, Prashant. Is audio coming now?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay.
No.
Let me stop sharing. Let me give another try. It should be coming now.
Let's see what is an educational or a career calendar.
Yes.
For a student to get success, right information on the right time is very much important. Majority of the students fail because they don't get right information on the right time. To overcome this problem, 360 Career Vision and Mufid Educational Network has come up with a career calendar. In this calendar, traditional images will be replaced with career-related information. 8 pages are dedicated for new and emerging career. It is going to cover around 200 courses. It will have information about scholarships, government jobs, and research. The whole purpose of this initiative is to bring the career-related information on the fingertips of the society. To make this cause successful, your support is very much required. You can gift these calendars to the students in the schools, or you can sell it as well. To book the calendars, please WhatsApp 360 Career Vision. Thank you very much.
So this is one of our major achievement we can see during the lockdown period. The volunteers worked hard and they created this career calendar. Okay. Let me go to the next slide. So you can see over here, this career calendar is we got the booking from Jharkhand, Madhya Pradesh, UP, Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, Chennai. So people took this calendar and at their places they did the inauguration of this one. And this is all teamwork. It's all teamwork. It was not possible without the support from the complete team over here. Okay. Now about today's agenda. Next agenda. Who are the target audience for BRC and why BRC came into picture? Okay. The target audience for BRC is mostly people who are having more than 10 years of experience, the people who are who are stuck in their career and feeling stagnation, people who are stuck in their mid management professionals, okay, people who want to accelerate their career towards the non-technical streams. We found that these people are always facing a problem what to read. They don't know what to read. Once they identify what to read, bringing out the time to read, that is very much difficult unless until they are getting involved in some group. Okay, and they are reading a lot of things, but connecting these things, these theories on the groundwork, that is really difficult. Okay, so that's the reason BRC came into picture. We will see at the end how BRC is going to function. Okay, now the overall registration over here. Okay, we got around 75 people who got registered for this event. 0 to 5 years experience, there are 18 people. 6 to 10 years, 20 people. 19 people have experience between 11 to 15 years. And from 15 to 20 years, we have 12 people, and 12 plus we have 20, 20 plus experience, we have 7 people. So if we see more than 50% of the audience over here, they are having more than 10 years of experience. Okay. Now, the next most important thing is a lecture, a session from Kaushik Majumdar. Okay, I would like to call Girish to go introduce Kaushik. Girish, over to you.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you so much, Abdul, for sharing about 360 Vision. Fantastic work done by 360 Vision. And yes, I think this is just a journey. We have come a little distance, but I think there is a long way to go. So thank you so much for adding back to giving back to the community from where we are coming, and my best wishes for the next journey, our journey ahead for the 360 Vision. Yeah, I think many of us throughout our career, right from the start, do come across various personalities, a lot of people, but there are few who actually admire us, who actually leave us impressed, and those are the people who we do remember for a long time, right? They influence our lives, they influence our careers, they influence the thought process, right? I have been fortunate to come across with some few leaders who actually helped me learn by just working with them, understand the difference between a good leader and managers. They have been the people who taught me, or from where I learned that how to build the people, how to build the careers, how to build the organizations, and how to build the businesses. Some amazing personalities, out of which one I think stays pretty much close to my heart. When his hands go onto the canvas with the colors and brushes, maybe a few amazing creations comes out. So I do remember during one event, I just asked him that, why you are in the IT industry, or why you are in the technology industry. Maybe, yeah, you could have been a fantastic artist for the country. When I saw him speaking at the stage about the strategy, I could see a visionary and strategic leader who was thinking a little bit ahead from the crowd, maybe 2 to 5 years ahead in the game, and his strategies as well as his thought processes used to his ability to connect the nature as well as business and maybe the earth, different elements together, has been tremendously influential as well as wonderful to see him. I know that many of my colleagues as well as many of my departments have been eagerly kept waiting for his addresses during many conferences. And while doing all these things, the way I saw one side of the person, that very strategic, very visionary person, very committed, dedicated, as well as working with the stretch goals. On the other side, I saw a very quick and regular learner, an avid reader, a good guide and mentor coach to many like me who have been able to guide someone like me from very scratch and build into something that is meaningful today to the world. Uh, so yes, very humble, kind, caring person about the people as well as the community. His CSR work has been really making us such good difference in the eastern part of Pune. Yes, and he keeps inspiring us. So thank you so much for his leadership, not only to just the organizations for he has worked, but to the overall community, and maybe turning out as a prominent leadership in the overall IT industry of the country. So please join me in welcoming uh, dear Kaushik Majumdar. Yeah, and I look forward to share him once again. It's a great opportunity. So welcome, Kaushik. Thank you so much for your time for this noble cause. And thank you so much, Abdul, for inviting us and bringing all together. So yes, over to you, Kaushik. Would request you to just take the stage and help us with your thoughts as well as guidance. Thank you.
Wow, that was overwhelming praise, Girish. So very humbling, but very nice to be here. Absolutely an honor to be here, actually. I heard Abdul talking about the 360 vision, and I was very happy that he is doing something so nice and so valuable. And as I volunteered, I felt it was something of an honor for me to volunteer in a forum like this. So very nice work, all of you that you're doing. Every volunteer who is working for this 360 vision. My thanks and my best wishes for them. And I definitely am happy to volunteer for something like this. So once again, thanks in front of you. What I'll do is I will start sharing my screen so that I can get into the slide deck that I've prepared for this, and then we can start from there.
Yeah, Kaushik, I have stopped sharing now. Over to you.
Just see. Yeah, is it visible to everyone?
Yes, Kaushik, it is visible. Yes.
Fantastic. All right. So as I was talking to Abdul, I realized that the topic is around mid-career crisis, and we had a quick discussion. But to me, it feels like it's a very broad topic, and it takes a long time to really deal with it. So to make it meaningful, we wanted to figure out how to make it more focused and bring it down to something a little narrower, but something that we can go down a little more and talk about. And as we talked about mid-career crisis, I think the most important thing that comes up is around the ability to learn, and that is how to move ahead. And towards that, I think it was a very quick thing that came up in the discussion, that if we can actually inculcate the habit of reading, that is definitely going to help. At no point of time am I trying to say that reading is the only way to learn. There are obviously other ways to learn. But my observation is that those people that are regular readers, they naturally are good learners as well. And it definitely enhances learning, it accelerates learning, broadens learning. And so I thought we will talk about reading in particular as well. Again, when I'm talking about reading, please include everything in your mind around not just books, but could be articles, could be all kinds of things. But I wanted to talk a little more in a focused way about reading in particular. But we have to keep in mind that the end objective is actually learning, not just reading. And therefore, that's something that will stay at the back of this whole discussion. I'll be happy to take questions at the end, but just to start with, I received some data from Abdul this morning around the people that have registered. I recognize that not everybody that is registered has come in here, so it may not be exactly fitting the profile that is actually attending this session now. I received data for about 74 people out of 75 people that have registered. So I just looked at the data and I wanted to get a quick snapshot of what I saw in that. So here's something I wanted to share. So basically, when I was talking about the data, the back of my mind, I had a question of why is it that we're really talking about reading becoming an important habit? Why do we want to talk about this? And so that was the background. And so that is what came up. So here's what I saw. About 43% of the people out of those 74 that came up, so 32 of the 74, have read a book recently. So that's less than half. Okay. It was interesting an observation. And one more was there. So there were actually 33, but the 33rd person said, I do not remember. So I'm considering that as possibly read long enough back that I do not remember, and therefore possibly not considered as read recently. So that is where the number is at 32. Interestingly, when I'm talking about these other 42 people that have not read a book recently, 7 of them, that is just 16% of them, actually said, I want to read a book. You probably see where I'm going. But I want to share one more thing. Of these 32 people who have said they have read a book recently, 5 of them have not indicated any book that they're interested in reading soon. So it kind of gets offset, because 5 people are saying I may not want to read a book, 7 people are saying I want to read a book, which are outside. So ultimately the number will stay at around 43%. You can see that it is less than half that actually want to read. And when I say read a book recently, it does not necessarily mean that somebody is reading regularly. It's only about reading recently. I do want to place a disclaimer first that when we are talking about this is just those 74 data points that I've seen. But you can understand that 74 data points were unbiased. So there may be some amount of pattern that will be an important thing for us to recognize what's going on really. Of the 74 people, a total of 35 people have said, I want to read a book ahead. So that's about 47%, slightly better. So, but it's still less than half. So that is still a thing where we can probably make a lot more improvement is what my thought process was. And then I saw about these 35 people who want to read a book. This was an interesting other perspective that I got. But of those 35 people that want to read a book, 60% of them have mentioned they want to read a techno-functional book. I want to come back to this point later again, but there seems to be a very narrow focus on exactly what I want to do and what I want to read. And it is probably, when we're talking about mid-career crisis, it is probably important to understand where this is coming from, and is there something that we need to shift. It was an interesting observation for me that of the 35 people who want to read, 1% of them have want to read a variety of books. Now that's an interesting thing. Again, please understand, out of 74, this is not even 0.5%, but it is. If I take those 35 people who want to read, only 1% actually are interested in reading something which is a variety of things that they want to read. It is going to be important, so I will come back to these 2 points as well subsequently. From the data points, you probably get a message already. So I'm not going to talk about what really it talks about, but you can see that it is justified that we take up a topic like this in a forum where we are talking about mid-career crisis. To me, it probably will have the biggest impact on any group that is actually going through this crisis. You understand what I'm saying here? So if I do not read, what is the whole point in knowing how to read? Again, I do want to point out that right at the beginning, I have said that it is okay to learn other ways also, but reading is possibly one of the fastest ways to learn. of the most accelerated ways to learn. It is absolutely a catalyst. And I can tell you that probably something that breaks a lot of stereotypes in our head when we read. Because reading is essentially a one-way communication. It is something that you're hearing, you're not able to argue, you're not able to talk back, you're not able to do anything. So you're kind of forced to only listen. And as a result, it forces us to think of another way, because I don't have a way of countering and saying, no, there is another thing that I always know of, and I want to dump it on you as well. In other discussions, in other forms of learning, I have seen that happen very often, because if somebody comes up with a view that does not gel with me, I possibly want to also talk about, now this is another way of thinking, and therefore I don't completely agree, and therefore the influence goes down. Whereas if I quietly read a book, I've noticed that actually works much better. And therefore I thought of putting this up. Having said this, there is another data analysis that I would like to show on the same data points here. This is what we're talking about as what people are really talking about what they want to read. So there are a number of categories, but what I've done is I've clubbed most things under self-help or techno-functional. And there are people who have specifically mentioned history plus this, plus that, plus spiritual, plus something. I put them as various. So there are people who have actually indicated they want to read various types of books. I've kept those as separate. But otherwise, I've seen that people have very, very specifically said, I want techno-functional book or I want self-help book. And you can see that the total is coming to about 54%, including all blanks. Blanks means people who may not want to read something. So it is going to be an interesting one to watch. When I was observing this, I sequenced this in terms of the years of experience. You can see that 0 to 5 years, then 6 to 10, 11 to 15, and so on. When I saw the first one, I just focused on the last column, which is the blank, which means that these are people who are saying, who are not saying that I want to read. Now, this number seems to be the least in the early years of the career, which means that people are more willing to read. As I tried to read the story through this data, this is how I was reading it. And again, it's only 74, so there may be some error in this, but I felt that it made some sense, and therefore I wanted to point out what is this analysis looking like. So in the early years of our career, we do want to read because we feel that when we have come out of our college, we have got into a corporate world or in a career where there is an overwhelming set of things that I just have no understanding of. People know a lot more than me. If I don't read, I will not be able to catch up. And there is a lot of pressure from the peers, from the leaders, from the environment, and the customers. And therefore, people possibly have a little more habit of reading. They want to read. It actually goes down the most during that 6 to 10 years of career, where 78% are saying, I don't want to read. I'm putting it crudely, but well, you know, we're talking about roughly about 22% of the people that want to read. 78% of the people are saying, they're not indicating anything that they want to read. And I'm trying to figure out what is happening during these years in the career. And it looks to me like around this time, when you've spent about 5 years, we tend to become, and because most people here are from the IT background, I'd like to say, okay, this is the time people have learned the technology, they've got comfortable with it, they have now learned enough that they're able to even help others. They have become kind of module leads or tech leads or leads in some form. They've become kind of experts. They get a feel that I have learned and I have learned enough. Now I can solve most things that are thrown in my direction and I'm comfortable. I think this sense of comfort is what causes the reading to go down, that there is nothing more to do. And it stays during that period of time. And after some time, it suddenly, you will see that it actually goes downwards, the blank piece, which means that more and more people want to actually start reading. So at the end of this 10 years, around this 10 years time frame, people are possibly now seeing that, okay, now I'm not progressing any further. Something has to be done. And suddenly there is a drop from 78% to 58%. So another 20% of people want to read. So they are saying that, okay, this is a time frame when I want to become a project manager, a leader, a frontline leader, whatever you want to call them. But that is the time frame that they want to do. And you can see that progressively, there's another 8% that want to do after around that 15, 20 years time. And then when you go beyond 20%, you're seeing another. And you probably know that people have actually gone, as their experience levels have gone up, they have probably become more and more comfortable and more open to reading. They have possibly, if I may use this phrase, that they have actually probably realized that reading is important for growth and learning. And they have probably reached there because they have started to read. So as you can see that progression. And they have also learned that through practice and through experience, that the more I have read, the more I've actually grown. Well, I thought this, even though it is a small piece of data, just 74 data points through one survey, I thought it gave a very interesting story. And therefore, I wanted to point out that this is why I would think it is an important area to focus on. So my entire presentation is really around the why we want to read, what we want to read, and how you go about reading. So that's all that I'm really trying to do. And this is what I would like to point out, that the person you will be in 5 years is based on what you're reading today. And of course, who you are associating yourself with. And so if you go back to the data and start thinking, this is exactly what is happening. So it is a good idea that today we are discussing about reading, because if we start this today, 5 years from now, we will not have to worry about a session like this. And that's the whole purpose. If that happens, then the session is a success. That is what I really wanted to point out. Well, so that's the core part. But I also wanted to point out that that when you think of books like The 7 Habits, I saw one person that's actually meant to read that book. I think it's a very good idea to read that book. When you read that book on 7 Habits of Successful People, the 7th habit is about sharpening the saw. And it actually says it is important for time to time for us to actually step back, take kind of rest, and sharpen our skills. And that is what is about learning. So while we are working, and every day we are working harder and harder and harder, it is important from time to time to step back and say, am I learning something beyond what I'm doing today? Because the things that I'm doing every day, those things get learned very easily. And we are all intelligent people. And therefore, it is something that does not take us time. We all learn it. It takes us 1 year. It takes us 2 years. It takes us 3 years max. And everybody has learned the ropes of their own work. It is after that it starts affecting. And it is very, very important to understand that this reading is what will take you to the next step as you go ahead. That's going to be very, very important. And so the more you read, the more things you will know, the more you learn, and the more you'll grow. That's how I see it. And that's therefore the reason why we are talking about reading. That's the why part. Okay, we can go on and on with this. I know we have limited time, so I'll not try to take it longer. And I don't want you to get bored about this. This is something that I just wanted you to open your eyes about and see why we are talking about this. Now, next, I wanted to talk a little bit about, well, something I thought a little more brutal, but it is probably important for us to recognize that these are small things to understand and reflect on. So which one is my focus area? What do I do with my time, with my resources? That takes me to the next one, to the next level of the organization, or the next level in my career, the next level in my life. And it is not just about career. I want to be very, very clear about this. It's not just about profession. It's not just about career. It is about life. Learning is important in life. And so it is important to start looking at how we are actually using our resources to grow in life. The next one, the what. And so the question is about what to read. Now you will remember I had pointed out some data points earlier about how many people are actually focused on reading something which is techno-functional. I have nothing against it. I am very happy that people are wanting to read and enhance their skills. And technical skills, technology skills are absolutely critical for us to be able to not just grow, but even survive. So there is no question that we need to read technology books and techno-functional books. There's absolutely no question on that. However, I would like you to understand what is our end objective. And I have mentioned this right at the beginning, as the end objective is about learning. And so learning, if you want to analyze a little more about learning, it is about what is it that I want to learn. So you need to understand that as we progress our career, and this is something all of you know, so there's nothing new that I'm going to talk to you about. As we progress in our career, there are two aspects that we talk about. One is our skills, the other is our competencies. And so the techno-functional books help with the skills. Whereas anybody who has gone through the mid-career will know that over our career ladder, the importance of skills gradually goes down and the importance of the competencies actually gradually keeps on going up. It's a reality. And we need to recognize that. So if you look at the top leaders in the world, in any space, and since we are talking about technology, you can even take up the technology space. And so the top leaders of every technology organization are not the biggest or the strongest technical people in their organization. They are definitely very good with technology, but they have something beyond technology. They have a vision. They know how to put a team together. They know how to create a strategy to move towards that vision. They know how to inspire people. They know how to negotiate. They know how to manage change. They just know a whole lot of things. It is not one or two aspects. So competencies actually become more and more and more critical as we grow. I'm not undermining skills here. Skills will remain. But please understand that at the early phase of our career, the importance of skills is probably critical there because it is like 90-95% of the focus should be on technology to understand the skills. But the moment we have reached mid-career, this 90-95% has possibly come down to about 50%, maybe about 40%. As we go up to a senior level leadership, it will come down to 30%, 20%, sometimes even 10%. And so it becomes 90% of competencies as opposed to 90% of skills. So that's how it actually shifts. And it is very important to recognize this because we are talking about going through the barrier of mid-career crisis. It's extremely important to recognize this. And that is where it is actually all about how do we manage. So what do we read? So the first thing, I put up two quotes here and which apparently are contradictory. And the first one talks about the first thing that reading teaches us is how to be alone. And the other one says we read to recognize that we are not alone. And it seems like apparently contradicting, but I wanted to put these two together so that I can explain what it really is about and why they are both the same. The first thing is, it is important to be alone. And that is what reading forces us. So I was talking about this, that it is kind of one-way conversation. It is not really a conversation which is two ways. And therefore, it is very, very important to recognize that reading is slightly different from other forms of learning. And in this one-way approach, we need to be alone because otherwise, in most other ways of learning, we are in a group. It could be 2 people, it could be 4 people, it could be 2,000 people, but there is some kind of a group. There is a learning going on. But in that environment, there is a crowd. And whenever there is a crowd, there is also noise. And therefore, when you read, you actually become more and more focused. And because and that is why you need to be alone, and so that you can actually put all your attention towards just that one thing that you're reading. The other part of this, the second quote that is coming up here, is talking about the other side, which says we need to know we are not alone. And this is very important because, first, I'll come back to the previous point one more time. When we are talking about alone, being alone, it is extremely important. It is extremely important to be alone. And I definitely want to distinguish very, very clearly between being alone and being lonely. I'm not talking about being lonely. I'm talking about being alone. It is very important that we practice this. It is very important that we are comfortable with this. A lot of people are not comfortable being alone. And that bothers us. And that's not a good sign. If I'm not comfortable in my own company, there's something wrong with that company. And so it is important that I am comfortable with myself and I'm comfortable being alone. Now, only when I'm alone that I actually, in a clutter-free environment, start to think. I can have a conversation within my head. I can try to figure out how I'm thinking, how I'm feeling, what is it that I need to do, what is it that I want to do, what are the confusions I have, what are the questions I have, what are the responses that I'm getting, and so on and on and on. Only when I'm alone and without noise around me, that is when I can focus. Now, once I have got all of these questions and thoughts in my head, and I have actually had some clarity in this, it is then that we will realize that when we start reading, we suddenly realize, hey, this book is making this one statement which resonates with me. And that is when that feeling of I'm not alone that comes up. So it suddenly occurs to me that yes, this is the way I wanted to think. Or sometimes, oh, I was not able to think like this, but this is exactly what was going on in my mind. I was not articulating it like this. This one sentence, this one paragraph, this one page has changed my mind. And that is the beauty of reading. So when you read, we should not be reading, or we should not be expecting that reading means the whole 200 pages of a book and the cover and every word in it. It is about those sparks that come out in the book. It could be just one word, it could be one sentence, it could be one paragraph in a book, in a whole book. But that can make a big difference to me. And that is when we start feeling we are not alone. It's about getting a resonance with somebody else's process. And it gives us a very different kind of confidence. It gives a very different level of clarity. It gives me a feeling that I was thinking in the right way. And that is something that goes very deep in us. And so our self-image goes up. And we are a lot more confident next time I'm talking to somebody. That's a very, very important thing to understand. So what should we read? We should read something that makes us feel like this. We should read something that should give us a feeling of a spark, something that makes us feel that we are not alone. And therefore, it need not be a techno-functional book alone. It can be anything that gives me that feeling. It's important. Because what we are really talking about is igniting our imagination. So it is important, anything that ignites our imagination. One of the vivid way, and who can articulate that vision. And that you need to understand. Now, this is an interesting one. And this connects to the statement that I was making about reading a variety of things. What this sentence actually, what this quote actually talks about is how you can read more than one types of things. And with each type of things that you read, your mind goes in a very different direction. Your imagination goes in a very different direction. Your thought process goes in a different direction. And when you think of 1, 2, 3, 4 different types of directions, and in your head, you process them, and sometimes these 4 things come together, you have a completely new spark. So please do not think that today my problem is about strategy, and therefore I should read only strategy. Just to give you a small quote from somebody else. There was this one interview with Bill Gates, and it's a long time back. I think it was about 15 years back. And this person actually asked him. He was at that point of time at the peak of his career, richest man on earth. Microsoft was big, and the person asked, "So you have seen it all, you have done it all, you've grown so much. What do you read?" Okay. Today we probably know about Bill Gates. He actually even gives out a list of his favorite books every year and all that. But that was the question that was asked. What is it that you read? And you'll be surprised. He said, "I read cartoons." Okay. I wanted to point this out because he was not joking there. He was talking about cartoons in the sense that when you think of cartoon characters today, you will see that it is full of imagination, very vivid imagination. A cartoon character does a lot of things that in real life are not possible in our minds. Okay, whether a character teleports itself, or a character just inflates itself, a character does something magical. There are a whole lot of things that characters do and cartoons do. So at the back of a cartoon is a person who is creative, who's imaginative. So reading a cartoon is basically reading imagination. And now, if I have the ability to read that and say, can I convert this imagination into a reality? You've got a vision. If you see one of the things that Jerry does in a Tom and Jerry cartoon, and say, hey, this was a very cool thing to do. Could it actually be done in real life? And you start thinking of it, and you think of technology, you think of everything that you know, all the resources that you have, and you put it together, and there is a spark that comes and says, hey, actually it's something that I can make real. You have changed. Once you've reached that stage, you actually do not have to worry about what are my future trends in the industry. You are creating a trend in the industry. You're not following a trend. And that's when you're a true leader. So when he's talking about I read cartoons, he's really not talking about cartoons alone. He's essentially giving out a message that he wants to hear about imaginations. He wants to be surrounded by imaginative people, creative people. And creative people are usually imaginative. So he wants to do that. So it could be a person who's reading a regular book. It could be a very serious book, which is creative and imaginative, or it can be a cartoon. But whatever it is important to read imagination. Stretch your boundaries, stretch your thinking. And that's what is important. So simultaneously, you can actually go to multiple lives, multiple things, and you bring them together. And this is what I mean by bringing it together. You read something in a cartoon book, and you're now starting to think, how can this be done in IT? You read something in philosophy, and you say, how can I do this in project management? You read a spiritual book and say, how can I handle this in leadership? And your ability to connect these dots across is what changes the way you think and the way you work. That's what this talks about, that I live more than one life, more than one place. That's how I interpret this. Works. And once you do this, the rest becomes fairly simple. Once this becomes a habit, you will find solutions to all the other things very naturally. So this was about what to read. So please do read the variety of stuff. You will not know what principle in mathematics or what principle in economics or what principle in psychology will actually help you resolve a problem that you're facing in your day-to-day work. You never know that. That's what I'm really trying to push at. So please do read a variety of stuff. One more time, nothing against techno-functional books. They need to be read. Please continue. But there is more that you need to do. And please don't be constrained like this, that because I am working on this particular technology, all I need to do is read books on this technology. That's not how it works. One of the most important strategy books today is considered the book called The Art of War. It is a book, it's a very small book. And it's a book that is built around the battlefield. But it is something that is worth reading for every single person who is interested in strategy. Yeah, I think that's the book. It's an excellent book. The day you know how to convert those battlefield strategies into your corporate world, you will see things change. There it will talk about your terrain, whether it is you are on a mountain, you are on a plain, you are on rocks, or you are on the water body. Here we are talking about different kind of terrains in the corporate world. Whether it's a decision, whether it's a different kind of industry, what are my competitors look like, what can my customer domain, profiles look like, and so on. My terrain will, the definition of terrain will possibly change, but the principle remains the same. You need to understand the terrain. It's that way. Well, I'll quickly move to the next one. I am probably running out of time, so I'll try to keep it quick. So when we're talking about the how, it is all, please understand, it is all about learning. And it is not just about skill development, it is about perspective development. So when you read, it is extremely important to keep this thing in mind. So it is not supposed to, I have read this book and I've understood what was written in there. It is about what was behind that book, what was behind that line that makes sense to me. If you do not reflect on that book, you will not get that. If you read a book on wildlife and you say, okay, wild dogs have a different kind of strategy and lions, prides have a different kind of strategy, and a tiger hunts differently, or a crocodile does a different thing. And therefore, there can be multiple different strategies that are possible, and you can convert that into your world in the corporate world. That's when reflection has happened. It is not about the knowledge of what a lion does. That's important. That's the how. Reading actually is thinking through another person's mind. And therefore, it also develops another very important competency. It's about empathy. It is about recognizing, understanding another person's mind. And you know how important it is in our day-to-day work in any kind of team environment. Whether it is your own team, whether it is your customer team, whether it is other stakeholders, whether it is your vendors, if you can think through their minds, you know it works. And reading actually forces you to do that, because it is the author who's constantly speaking his or her mind. And all you are doing is trying to understand what is behind that mind. And that's what you need to really look at. So to keep it quick, the next one, what I would like you to encourage yourself to do constantly is, the more books you read, the more questions that you start asking. And as you ask questions, listen more closely to what are the responses. Okay, please understand, questions need not have right or wrong answers. Questions have responses, because the higher we go in our career ladders, you will recognize that there is no right or wrong answer. Everybody is possibly lost. It is not about how to resolve this syntax error. It is more about how to solve this customer's problem. And different people will come up with completely different things. Listen to each one of those closely. That is going to be an important thing. That is what you start inculcating. The other thing, asking more questions is absolutely critical, because the moment you reach mid-career, it is going to be extremely important to recognize that throughout the early part of career, all we learned is how to solve a problem. There is a problem statement given, I need to know how to solve it. Whereas the moment you cross that mid-career, the next part of your career is more about, do I know which is the problem to focus on? There are others who are able to and perfectly capable of finding a solution. But do I know what are the right questions to ask? Which are the right problems to solve? That's important. And if you can do that, if you can start making that switch from giving responses or finding solutions to finding the right problems, you have become a leader, and a great leader. You will not have a mid-career crisis. You will cross that boundary very easily, because that's what people are looking for. Because it's, you know this, what brings you here does not take you there. The trouble with this mid-career crisis is all about that. People think that I have always been working on solutions, and I continue to keep on working on technology and finding solutions. Whereas the next step's problem is very different. It is about focusing on the right problems and asking others to solve it. Because there are just too many problems in the world. You figure out which is the problem that will give you the best return and the highest impact. Well, to keep it quick, that was really all I wanted to do. If you can do all of this, it is a very, very simple movement, but it will feel like a movement from a caterpillar to a butterfly. It is practically a metamorphosis, not just a simple change. Questions? Sorry, I've taken a lot more than I was probably allotted.
It's perfectly fine, Kaushik. I think you are just on time. You just
All right.
completed exactly 45 minutes. Okay.
Okay.
Because initially we started a little bit late. We were waiting for the people. Okay. Yeah. So Sarfaz, would you have? I think you gathered the questions, right?
Yes. So yeah, I'm audible.
Yes. You are audible.
Okay. So thanks, Kaushik, for the wonderful insights. So we have a couple of questions from the participants. So I'll just read out to you one of the question from Animesh Raje. So what are your thoughts about learning using audio resources like podcasts, audiobooks?
Absolutely. I would consider that as much as reading. And you need to recognize in your own head what works best for you. Some people are actually more audio people. Some people are more visual people. Some people work best when they're hands-on. So there are different kinds of learning that are there. What works best, you should focus on that. However, please understand, audiobooks have their own limitations. And typical human beings, the focus, visual distraction is the strongest distraction. So if you're listening to books, but your eyes are open and you see other things happening around, your probability of getting distracted is a little higher. So be careful about how you're managing that. So if you can manage that, perfectly fine. There is absolutely no problem at all. But please read and include audiobooks as reading. Another thing, this is my own personal view, audiobooks have their own pace. Sometimes we need a different pace. So when you're doing this audiobook, when I was talking about reflecting, it is important that if there is a statement that has been made, if there is a line that has come up, if there's a paragraph that became interesting, pause and reflect. Ensure that you're doing that while reading audiobooks, also listening to audiobooks as well. Because if they don't pause, and that spark may just go. So in a book, it is easy. You just pause. If required, just close the book, put a bookmark, think. Try to practice those things. But there is nothing wrong with audiobooks. Absolutely fine.
Okay, thanks, Kaushik. The another question is how to build a learning plan. This is from Amit Godbole.
Learning plan. That's a very long discussion. It depends on what. I think the starting point is what you want to learn, and to start that, you have to figure out why. And if you saw my flow today, it was all about just that. First, figure out why are you doing this? Why do you need a learning plan? And you will start ask that question very critically, and you will see that you will come down, and you say, okay, why do I need to learn this? Why not something else? And you start critically questioning yourself. You will find that you are able to narrow it down to something very focused. Because otherwise, there will be some 200 things that you want to learn, all fair, but you will not be able to manage that. So figure out what is the focus area. Once you've got that, then you see what is it, where is it that I can get information about this. Now, information about this is where the next mistake sometimes happens. Because the moment I say I want to learn because I want to be better at Azure, then you have probably already lost the game somewhere. If your learning is actually about I want to be a faster learner, I want to be an agile learner, then your starting point is very different. So don't make it so narrow that it has become very specific and you have a specific answer and you're done. Then it becomes research. Then it is research. There's nothing wrong with research, but please understand that is not learning. The way we are talking about learning is what is it that I want to do? I want to progress on my career. I want to be more agile as a person. I want to gain the ability to build strategy or whatever. Those are broader problem statements to make. And then you start reading resources. So once you have done that, then you will know, okay, I can get this resource not just from books on technology, but also books from self-help, also books from philosophy, also books of whatever else. And also make this a habit of, you may not know that a wildlife book will actually give you strategy. Just pick up any book and try to figure out what is it that I can do from this book in my learning goal. So reverse the process. Any book that you read, ask yourself, what is it that I could do to use this information and knowledge that I'm gaining in my career? That will result. Does that help? Amit will have to get back.
Thanks, Kaushik, for that. One more question, one last question from Zubair. How important is emotional intelligence for IT folks, especially the senior guys? And he's also asked you to recommend a book for the same.
If I say it is critical, not just important, it's possibly still not going to do justice. EQ is absolutely critical, really, really critical. I'll tell you, it is not just about IT leadership, it is about leadership in general. And we use the term sometimes IT leadership to assume that it is all about IT. But when we use the term IT leadership, please understand leadership is the bigger deal. Okay, you can be the most technical person around, but if you do not know how to rally your team against it or behind it, you will not be able to manage. You need to know how to rally your team behind a thought or a vision that you have. Your ability to communicate is going to be critical. Now, when you communicate, you do not know how your communication is being received unless your EQ is strong. Unless your EQ is strong, you will not even know what are the gaps or what are people worried about. So if people are worried about a different problem in their life, it is COVID time and I don't know if I'm safe, and you are talking to them about your strategy and how it is important that this project has to go through, you are getting a disconnect right away. EQ is critical, every single place. So please do not underestimate EQ at any point of time. You're asking books on EQ. Frankly, there are just too many different books. You can read any one of them. I would fundamentally ask you to go back and read uh, the seven habits, and it actually talks about keeping the how you understand another person's perspective. There's a whole one of those habits is actually that it is actually about EQ. I could go around and go ahead and talk about it, but it's a little longish discussion, so I'm not getting into what the chapter talks about. But yes, it actually has a chapter on just this. How do you think from another person's perspective? How to put yourself in another person's shoes and start thinking? And how you can be grossly off if you miss it. That is what that whole chapter is about. So go ahead and read uh, the 7 habits of highly successful people. You will get it.
Thanks,
else?
Kaushik. I think we all agree to that. I think we're done with the questions. So just for everyone, if you're interested, just register to the BRC form. I think Mustaq is sending the link in the chat. So if you're interested, please go and register yourself. Over to you, Abdul.
Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Kaushik, for a great talk. Okay. And I think the purpose of this initiative is to bring the awareness, to bring the more people towards the learning. Okay, whether it is technical learning or non-technical learning, and the examples you shared that okay, every learning is going to has a huge value in the career. Okay. Thank you very much. Kaushik, I would like to share the screen. Dear audience, now
Yes.
we are going to see how the overall book BRC, that is a book reading club functioning will happen. Okay, so let me share my screen now. So hopefully you are able to see my screen. Great. So let's see, we are towards the last part of this session today. So how BRC is going to function. Okay, so we have two SMEs over two SMEs over here. One SME is Girish Babar. So Girish Babar is coming from huge product and agile coaching front. He is very much, we can say, good in customer centricity, product lean, agile, and and coaching values. Okay, so he's an expert over there. So we have chosen Girish to lead the one stream of one stream or couple of streams. Okay, and then we have Prashant Gulwadi. Okay, Prashant Gulwadi is a computer engineer, and he is having more than 2 decades of experience. He is coming with a blend of experience from both traditional and traditional project management, and the agile project management and the agile framework. Okay, so he is a continuous learner in the areas of agile, Scrum, design thinking as well. He has done the design thinking certification, and he is leading a couple of chapters for the design thinking. Okay, so these are the two SMEs. Girish Babar is going to be assisted with Sarfaraz Sheikh, and Mushtaq Panja is going to assist Prashant Gulwadi. Okay, so Sarfaraz and Mushtaq are the volunteers from 360. These are the areas of his. These are the areas or the streams we have identified. Okay, so we request you to respond to the survey which Mushtaq has just sent. Okay, so if you are interested in BRC, to join BRC book reading club, please register so that we will take that survey. We will see how many people are interested in which areas. Then accordingly, we will form a group, a WhatsApp group we are going to form, and we are going to start that club Okay. Now I would like to see a couple of things. I think Girish has some. Girish, I think you want to say something.
Not a question, Abdul, but yeah, thank you so much again for uh, this introduction. Definitely, we are all here to learn together. I just wanted to share that we do have Mr. Animesh Raje with us, my colleague, a very avid reader as well as a fantastic facilitator. So we have been just talking about maybe this initiative just before we started here, and I'm thankful to him for gracefully accepting my request to help us with the further facilitation as well. So yeah, maybe along with me and Prashant, yeah, I think we will have a wonderful company of Mr. Raji as well. So yeah, that's what I just wanted to share. Abdul.
Yes,
Thank you so much.
great. Great, Girish. Thank you very much for bringing other expert and other volunteers as well over here. Superb. Let's see a couple of common agreement which we want to follow during the BRC. Okay. Each and every book reading club will be having maximum 7 professionals. Okay, and this one book reading club will go from 6 to 8 weeks. We need 80% of the attendance must from each and everyone. That means the people who are committing that, okay, I will be joining a customer agility or day offs or design thinking. We want them to be present that, okay, they are attending those things, and whatever the chapters are allocated to them, they are reading, they are preparing, and they are sharing that knowledge. Okay, so we are expecting that 80% attendance is must. Then these sessions will be 1 to 2 hours per week, depending upon the registration. Just now we are receiving. We will see that, okay, whether you are interested only on the weekend or do you have Monday to Friday also one day. Because if we meet only on the weekend, there is a huge overload on us to read and to present and to learn. What we are thinking that if we meet sometime 9 to 10 or 8:30 to 9:30 before our office timing, Monday to Friday, one day only, that will be great. Another thing is we are expecting that you should be having the individual copy, whether it is soft copy, hard copy, doesn't matter. The outcome we are expecting in that one, you should be able to represent just the normal Word document. It is not a very fancy document. It is just some whatever the learning you had during the learning, you should be able to present that one. That is expected with your own individual copy. We are not going to share any copy. You need to purchase your own. Okay. Then another thing is content will be divided in among these seven team members. If there are 5 members, that will be divided among those team members. Just take the example, there are 20 chapters, then and there are 5 people who are joining this club. So everybody will be having 4 chapters in his or her bucket. And how we are thinking that to run this club, for 30 minutes we are going to present our learning. It might be 2 chapter or 4 chapter, so we are expecting that to be completed in 30 minutes. Then 45 minutes we want to do the brainstorming, because there will be a lot of concepts over there. Sometimes we are already implementing those concepts, but how to relate to the ground? So that's the purpose we have kept 45 minutes as the brainstorming. Okay. And there is a red star mark over here for the attendance. Here we want to emphasize that if you are in, if Girish is interested and Abdul is not interested, it should not happen that, okay, he's just joining and he is just wasting other people's time. Okay, so we are thinking that, okay, there will be certain nominal fees for that one, somewhere around 150, and that is for logistic charges, and this money will go for the NGO. Okay, like purchasing the this Zoom account and all those things. So that is going to be maximum around 150 rupees per person per month. Okay. So any questions, any doubt you have, we are happy to answer your doubts. and questions. And it is just only 5 minutes we are going to continue. If you have any questions, any doubt about the BRC, we are going to unmute. Let's see if I'm able to unmute you, so that you can, in favor of time, you can directly unmute yourself and you can ask the questions. Okay. So any question, any doubt on BRC, please let us know.
So Abdul, this is Shaib this side. So
Yeah.
it will be really good if you can further categorize what topics or what things will be covered under custom topics like customer agility and then design thinking
Okay.
and DevOps, because this will help us to focus on the area.
Yeah, that's correct. So I'm going to share the screen right now. Okay, where we have people responded the survey. So if we can see, there are 10 respondents, and out of 10 respondents, 2 are telling design thinking, 3 are telling DevOps, and 1 is business agility, 3 are telling customer centricity, and 1 is telling product owner. Okay, so what we will do is these are the streams. Okay, we will identify certain books which are suggested by our SMEs, and we will share offline. We will connect you offline, and we will form a group for that one.
Yeah, because what exactly I need to know is what exactly I'm trying to understand is under design thinking, what part will be covered, or under DevOps, what part will be covered.
Yeah.
So that's what I want to know.
Yeah. So we will be taking one book, whatever is coming under that book, design thinking or DevOps, we will be taking that one. Okay. And those chapters will be divided. So we are not going to design the syllabus.
Okay.
For that one, we are just going to follow the chapters content over there, which are.
Yeah, got it. Thank you.
The reason being is what we felt, we read couple of articles on LinkedIn, or we read couple of articles on YouTube. We see couple of videos, and we feel that okay, that is the only content about that one. Just take the example of DevOps. People generally feel that okay, DevOps is only about tools and technology. But if we read a complete book for the people who are having in mid-career crisis, then that is going to be very much beneficial to have the 360 look of DevOps or design thinking. Okay, so that's the reason, rather than going bit by bit, we are going to take one good book and we are going to start the reading of that one in a group. This answer the question? Yeah.
Can you hear me, Abdul? Prashant here.
Yeah, Prashant. Yeah, tell me. Yes.
See, some of these topics, though I've been assigned design thinking, but I'll also be interested in attending customer centricity, agility, DevOps. So, are these streams going to be sequential so that we can maximize attendance in each of these if interested?
Yeah, that's a good question. So what we are planning for that one, if the people wants to read and attend more than one book reading club, that we will decide, Prashant, depending upon the interest. Because if there is just only one person who is interested, and people are seeing that no, there are 5 people interested, then we will be having different timing. But if it is just only one person, then I think depending upon the audience, the convenient time, we will be deciding that one. So there is room for consideration for that one, definitely.
Thank you.
But depending upon the response from our audience, we will decide.
So, Mr. Abdul, I'm not able to access the form. I'm not sure what has just happened because
okay,
I'm trying to access it, but it says that I'm not allowed to edit the form.
Just I think Mushtaq is going to assist you for that one. He will share the. Have you just tried now? Just now?
Yeah, just now.
Just now? Okay. Let me see if there is something in the settings.
So just check. Otherwise, yeah, if there are some technical issues, maybe feel free to share your inputs through the chat as well, and we'll make sure that we will take into consideration those inputs as well. Okay, just respond through the chat. to Sarfraz or anyone.
Mushtaq.
It's a feedback from, Hasib, we are facing the problem. It's not the information form. Second form, we are facing the problem. So make the changes as you did for the first one.
Okay, so Abdul, what I
Yeah.
understood is that maybe for the first survey where you have asked for these inputs, I think people are able to access it. The second survey that has been triggered just to collect the feedback for this session. I think
Okay.
that's where the access issue is coming into picture.
Okay, just let me see that one. Yeah, before you break, we request you to provide the feedbacks. Okay, let me go over here in the settings, because your feedbacks are very much important. That will help us to perform better next time. Okay. Okay. Let me assign some end date for the next. I refreshed the form just now. So for the feedback, just check whether you are able to submit.
No, Abdul, I think still there is some problem.
There is some problem.
It's asking for the password. So I think you did something for the first form. Not sure what you did.
So feedback also, Mushtaq, you are facing problem?
Yeah, I'm facing problem only for the feedback. Previous form is
Okay.
working fine, absolutely
Previous
fine.
form is working fine. Just give me a second.
Yeah.
Just give me a second.
So Abdul, Dipti here.
Hi, Dipti.
Yeah, hi. I think for the feedback, you are asking for login thing, and it is getting conflict with maybe people have their own official Microsoft Teams login. So it is forms, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is Microsoft
Yes,
Forms.
Yeah, that is the same case with me. So maybe
Okay.
you need to share the.
Mushtaq, I'm sending you one link. Just check it now. I just modified something. You will get a link right now from Mushtaq. And we request do not log off or please respond to the survey so that you can provide us the feedback. Mushtaq, just send this one. Just try now.
That works now. Works for me.
Works for you? Okay.
Wonderful.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Sorry
Thank you
for
so
the
much.
technical glitch. Okay.
Yeah, I think it was connecting to Microsoft Forms, Google Forms, something conflict with it.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yes, we received 4. Yes, we received 4 to 6 responses as well over here. So we request everyone to respond to the survey and to the feedback, because your inputs are very much important for us. There are only 2 simple questions.
Thank you, Prashant, for connecting, and nice to connect again, Abdul and Girish.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. So if any has any inputs, any feedback, they can speak over here. We will be noting down those feedbacks as well. So please respond, or please speak over here. We'll continue another 2-3 minutes, so that you can speak whatever you like, you don't like, or you want to improve us. We will continue another couple of minutes over here.
And Abdul, yeah, maybe by the time our participants just responding to the survey, I just wanted to take a moment to thank you, Kaushik, especially for the wonderful insights. Thank you so much for taking time out from your busy schedule and helping us learn more about the reading. I think, yes, many of us do keep reading, but today's session at least has sparked me that maybe how do I read it, what do I read it, and maybe how do I utilize my learning a little bit more added on top of it. So thank you so much for such wonderful insights, and thanks to everyone else as well who could just carve out time from the busy schedule on the weekend to participate, share thoughts, good questions. Yeah, and just looking forward to the mutual learning.
Thanks for organizing this. This was definitely very exciting. I love the way this forum is going. So it's wonderful. I think all credit goes to all the volunteers that are working.
Yeah, all the volunteers. Yes, true.
Yeah, wonderful initiative. Looking forward for many more conversations and interactions.
Sure, Dipti. So anybody has any feedback they can share over voice, they can speak, because we have unmute everyone. We'll continue another couple of minutes just to listen your feedbacks, inputs, because we feel that okay, we have muted you throughout the session, but now it is your time.
So as this is going to be a virtual, I had one question, like we can invite more people across geographies, right?
Yes. In today's meeting also, we have one person from UK and 2 people from Middle East. So it is across geography.
Sure. I'll pass it on. Maybe we'll connect with you offline. I am part of a couple of other groups. Especially the topics which you have mentioned. I'm sure people are eager to learn, and it will help as a mutual learning also.
True. That's correct.
Abdul, maybe you could spend some 1 or 2 minutes on the next steps of actions. When do we meet next? What's the plan?
Yeah, so we have received these inputs. Okay, we have received who all are interested in BRC. So we will check we will connect them offline. Okay, Prashant, and see how we can proceed further. What does that mean is, at the moment, if we see the people who are interested in BRC, okay, so there are 4 DevOps and 3 design thinking. So we will ask their mutual. We will roll out a survey for these interested people to check what is the best suitable time for them. And once they confirm, we will make a WhatsApp group for that one. In that WhatsApp group, we will start potentially. We are planning from next week. From 14th, we are planning to start, and from tomorrow till 23rd, we'll have a high-level planning over the WhatsApp or over the phone.
Thank you, Abdul.
Yeah.
Thank you, Abdul. Thank you, Girish. Thank you, Kaushik, sir. Nice meeting you.
Thank you. Same here.
Thank you so much.
I was fortunate to visit Principal way back in 2019, and Girish and Abdul had hosted us for part of Agile Network India. It was one of those memorable events there that we had, and I could make this connection from there. We are very impressed by your facility there.
Okay. Oh, so you came to the new office?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful.
Yeah, same here. Magarpatta campus, part of AI Meet, have visited, and Girish was our person to facilitate and visit. I think all the floors and all the surroundings.
The themes behind every floor.
Sorry?
The themes behind every floor.
Yeah, correct. Themes on each floor, and explain us actually who was behind this whole concept on each floor. And nice to meet you, sir, here virtually though. But yeah, it gave us a face on the name of those creators.
No, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to be here. It was such a wonderful group.
So we look forward to meet you again, sir.
Yes.
Absolutely. I'll be happy.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Sure. Thank you all.
Yeah. Okay, great.
Thanks
Thank you.
very much.
Thank you, Kaushik, for coming over here and guiding us. Thank you very much. And
Thanks, Abdul, for letting me come here.
Yeah, we will be requiring your
great
support in future as well.
Sure. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
All the volunteers.
Bye.
Thank you, Taha. Thank you,
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Mushtaq.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank
Bye
you.
bye.
Have a
Bye bye.
good.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you, Abdul. Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Bye bye.
पूरे सबके लिए मीटिंग एंड करो